just feels a little sideways.
Despite strong video evidence, a jury acquitted a man accused of beating and shooting at a San Bernardino County Sheriff deputy back in 2019. Welcome back. I'm Giovanna Latta.
I'm Mark Brown. You're watching Eyewitness News at 5, live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. A former San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy is shocked after a jury acquitted the man charged with her attempted murder.
Our Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has more on the defense's claim that she wasn't lawfully performing her duties prior to the attack.
At first glance, the video might seem crystal clear. A suspect punching a San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy several times, stealing her gun, and then firing as she runs away from him. However, a jury has found Ari Young not guilty of both attempted murder and assault with a firearm on a peace officer. The jury apparently didn't even have enough evidence to find him guilty of resisting arrest, battery on a peace officer, or even for removing the firearm. On those charges, the jury hung.
What was your first reaction when you got that news?
Disbelief.
Megan McCarthy suffered several injuries in the attack. It happened on September 4, 2019. McCarthy responding to a 911 call about a domestic disturbance at a home in Victorville involving Ari Young, who experts say suffers from schizophrenia.
As I'm walking up to the front door of that house, I see the front door open, and out comes the male, the suspect, and he's followed by the woman, I'm assuming is the reporting party, and she has a knife in her hand. I walk around behind him and I put his hands at the small of his back, just tell him, you know, relax, it's okay, what's going on, just to pat down his pockets for weapons, and that set him off and began the assault. I turn and I run for the nearest cover I can find, which happened to be a bush, and I hear a gunshot go off. And I knew he was shooting at me.
That's when other deputies respond, shoot the suspect, and take him into custody. A good portion of the incident caught on camera.
It does look bad when you look at it at first glance.
But defense attorney Raj Maleen says because of the location of the bush where the deputy said she ran to get away, he argued that the suspect was not shooting at her.
We know exactly where she went, which was due south. And we know where he fired because there's a bullet hole in the garage, which shows he fired northeast, exactly in the direction he was walking, which is completely opposite of where she was.
But what about the other charges? Resisting arrest, removing the firearm, and battery on a peace officer? Well, to find someone guilty of those crimes, the law says the person being assaulted had to be lawfully performing their duties. While it might sound like just a technicality to some, Maleen argues the deputy did not have reasonable suspicion.
The jury instruction that the court read to the jury basically says if you want to detain somebody, you have to have a reasonable suspicion that they're involved in criminal activity. And in this case, the issue was the initial detention of Mr. Young legal? If it's not, then he's not guilty. No matter, he could punch her 100 times and it wouldn't matter.
I was called to that house. I see a situation where there's a woman in such fear of her life. She is armed with a knife. I have every right to believe that maybe he has a weapon.
Ari Young was found guilty of negligent discharge of a firearm, and because he'd already been behind bars long enough to serve that sentence, was set free. As for McCarthy, she medically retired from the department last year.
I can only do what I can do. I'm a human being. I tried to do my job to help this woman, and unfortunately the suspect's actions dictated the rest, which we all saw.
You don't have to fight and you don't have to be a jerk. Just gotta exercise your rights and you'll find that it works. Officer, I'm happy to cooperate, but not without my lawyer. I don't talk to cops. Never, ever, ever talk to cops.